able to input what is needed so that we can project it, right? That was really a dialogue that we had, that short talk. But the thing is it's one thing about quieting the mind and then trying to input as I gave steps and details about it. But we also have to have what I like to say, we also have to have the courage, right, and the confidence. So today's topic is confidence and courage, right? Confidence and courage. Today's topic is confidence and courage. And this is very important for us to have in this day and age. It has always been important, but when we're talking about this day and age, where we are in life, it is important to be confident and it is important to be courageous. It is extremely important. So confidence and courage. Confidence and courage. That's what I want to discuss today. I want us to have a short talk and I want to talk about a few things. Now, I don't know if we have enough time to get through all that I want to discuss with you guys this talk, but I really want to just dive in and I want to just kind of move into this because it's very important to me for everyone to get this understanding because I think it's something that we must work at and work consistently at it, right? Confidence and courage. Confidence and courage. And like I said, go ahead and get that person on. If you still shooting a message, I'll get that individual on the call and let us just dive right in. Right now, there's a few things I want to talk about as we dive into this confidence and courage. So one of the things I want to talk about is on this whole talk, the short talk that we'll have for the Leadership Summit today, is one of it's going to be how is courage and confidence related? That's one of them that we're going to talk about, right? How is courage and confidence related? The second one that we're going to talk about is the power of courage, right, over confidence. The power of courage over confidence. The third is, how do I become more courageous? How do I become more courageous? The fourth is, what are the 6 attributes, or what are 6 attributes of courage? What are 6 attributes of courage? What are 6 attributes of courage? Right? The other one is, what is the key to courage? What is the key to courage? What is the key to courage? And the last is, what are the 3 causes of courage? What are the 3 causes of courage? Now, I don't know if we're gonna get through everything, but we will try, right? And it's very important as we dive into this, right? So let's start with this. How is courage and confidence related? How is courage and confidence related? Because you guys should be taking your notes, and for those who are just listening in, how is courage and confidence related? Now, I want you guys to understand something. We hear this, and we live in a world where these are 2 very important things that one must possess. These are 2 very important things that one must possess. So how is courage and confidence related? See, when people hear this, so courage, confidence, you just hear these things and, well, you need to have courage or you need to be confident, or people say it's the same thing. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I need you to listen carefully because, see, courage, right, is the ability to take action despite fear. Courage is the ability to take action despite fear. So you should write it down. Courage is the ability to take action despite fear, right? And confidence, ladies and gentlemen, confidence is built through the experience of taking action and pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. See, confidence is built through the experience of taking action and pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. So be courageous and you will get the power to build your confidence as well. Be courageous and you will get the power to build your confidence as well. This is important because a lot of the times somebody tell you, well, you need to just be courageous, you need to have confidence. Well, Can somebody help me here? What does that mean? When I hear it, what does that mean? Because see, you wonder why someone may still fumble when you tell them, hey, you need to be strong. You need to step up. You need to be courageous. You need to have confidence. Well, what do you mean? Because here's the thing. I gotta have the courage before the confidence. I'm hoping you guys are following me so far. I gotta have the courage before the confidence. Confidence does not just arrive. I have to have the courage, and the courage is the ability to take action despite fear. It is that ability to take action despite the fear that you will be feeling, right? Now, an example of that is a little short story about a man. There's a man who his peers fully underestimated, right? And they didn't understand the extent of his limitations. Had they understood that the extent of his limitation, then few of them would have even wanted him to do what he did. None would have blamed him if he had said, well, look, I don't even want to try. But he wasn't that type of man to back down from a challenge. He realized that the odds were stacked against him. So he had those enormous obstacles that was in his way, but he pressed on with confidence, this man. He had proven his resilience and determination over 11 years. His resilience, his determination, he proved it. See, this particular man, this gentleman I'm speaking about, despite all that stood in his way, he pressed on regardless of appearances. He knew that he had to do what needs to be done in order to get the job. His confidence was grounded not in his ego. I need you to hear me. It was grounded not in his ego, but in the unique experience and background that he had. His unique experience and background. So with courage, determination, remember courage is that action, right? With courage and determination, he continued to press on. And in November 8th of 1932, the American people rallied behind as he led this amazing campaign, and they elected Franklin D. Roosevelt to the first of 4 consecutive terms, as the United States of America would know. See, that was his resilience to push through. But had they knew a lot of the things that he faced, they would have said, it's okay. You got all these issues going on. Don't try. You got all this problem going on. You don't have to worry about it. We understand that you can't really do it because maybe you cannot comprehend correctly. Maybe you do not understand what the game of politics look like. You got all these odds stacked against you. But see, his resilience, his determination pushed him through. And then he was elected and served 4 consecutive terms. We're talking about courage and confidence. This is something very important that we have to have in our life today. This is something very important that we must possess, but we can build it up. See, ladies and gentlemen, see, confidence, courage, and resilience, those confidence, courage, and resilient leaders, like Franklin D. Roosevelt's, they're both decisive and resolute. You have to be decisive and you must be resolute. See, these leaders, a person that stepped into that leadership position, or a person that's saying, I need to get to where I need to get to in this job. I need to be able to elevate in this position. You must be decisive and resolute, okay? So these type of leaders, they possess a willingness to accept what? You must possess this willingness to accept risk, to endure consequences, and withstand opposition. If you step into that space to say that I am going to go full speed ahead, you must possess the willingness to accept the risk of what you're stepping into, or what will come of what you're stepping into. You have to be ready to endure the consequences that will come with it and to withstand the opposition. That is extremely important when we're talking about courage and confidence. See, leaders with confidence and courage, those resilient leaders, they're able to make and stand behind difficult decisions. See, that's really important. That's extremely important. They have to stand. You must stand behind difficult decisions, pressing on with determination. And that's what he did. And you face adversity in this process, but you have to press on with determination. This is extremely important, because what happens is that it will inspire hope in those that are looking at you, those that are following you, in those whom you lead. This is extremely important for you to understand. So some of you might say, I'm not leading anybody, but you got 2 kids. Of course you're leading, because they're watching everything that you do. Well, I don't have any kids, I'm not leading anybody. Well, ask where you are. Where did you profess that you need to be in your life? Because first, you have to become a leader of self. I'm hoping somebody is getting me. You have to become a leader of self. Because once you become a leader of self, then there'll be others that are looking at you. Whatever job that you're doing, someone is watching. There's never a time that someone is not watching. So don't ever say to yourself, no, that's not me, because someone is always watching. So you always have to muster up that courage. That is extremely important. So now, how can you improve and leverage your own strengths in order to become that better leader? How can you leverage that? How can you get that to become something that is so powerful? And that is by leveraging and applying your leadership strengths. Then guess what, ladies and gentlemen? You can become an even more effective leader. You can, by leveraging these leadership strengths, you can become a more effective leader who, number one, write it down, is decisive and resolute. Is decisive and resolute. The next thing is willing to accept risk and endure consequences. A leader who is willing to accept risk and endure consequences. That's very important. The next is to be able to make difficult decisions, as I mentioned above, and withstand opposition. And the last is inspire hope and confidence in those you lead. That is what Franklin D. Roosevelt did by persevering and having that determination through the process. Though he had all these obstacles that, had anyone known about it, they would not have blamed him had he not persevered or pushed on. But see, there's things that sometimes you got to hold close to your chest. There's some things that you don't open your mouth to speak on. There's some things that you got to keep so locked away when you are pressing on a journey, because those things are the things that can hinder you. But if you are the only one dealing with it and learning how to overcome it, then you can use that process as your fuel to push forward, to muster the courage that will then give you the confidence. Is somebody following me? If you're following me, type 1 in the chat. If you're following me, type 1 in the chat. If you're following me, type 1 in the chat. This is extremely important for us to understand. If you're following me, type 1 in the chat. I want to make sure that everyone is on here and you guys are following. If you're following me, type 1 in the chat. Type 1 in the chat, everyone. If you're following me, type 1 in the chat. I want to make sure everybody can hear me. You guys can see me. That's beautiful. Okay? This is extremely important, right? This is extremely important. Now, let's look at the power of courage over confidence. The power of courage over confidence. Let's look at that. The power of courage over confidence, because this is extremely important. The power of courage over confidence. See, For the most part, many of us, we become more confident, right? We want to become more confident. Many of us, we want to become more confident. In fact, confidence is one of the main personal development areas that, for the most part, a one-up or a one-down mentee, they're looking for and the support from a mentor to be able to help them to be able to muster, develop this, right? So confidence, what is confidence? Confidence, guys, is a state of being that is heavily influenced by many factors. I want you to understand that is a state of being that's influenced by many factors. I want you to think about that for a second. Take a second, just think about that. It is a state of being that is influenced by many factors. Confidence. What are those factors? The environment is one of them. Experiences, right? Health, well-being, friends. Confidence, right, is a state of being that's heavily influenced by these things. It is heavily influenced by these things. Your peer, your state of mind is influenced by these things, right? So for a person striving for more of it, it sometimes can be inconsistent, at least in our experience. Sort of like happiness. Sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're not, right? Depends on your state of being. This is very important, which is also experienced at different magnitude and different time. So I want you to understand how important that is. This is why we're talking about the difference of courage and confidence, right? So this is why we're taking this idea of courage, right, over confidence and look at it overall. Look at how important this is. Whereas confidence is a way of being for a person, right? That's the description of who they are, how they behave, their ongoing basis, on an ongoing basis, I should say, how they behave on an ongoing basis, how they are, right? And courage is something that a person possesses at a period of time for a moment, right? Courage is what a person possesses at a period of time for a moment. And it pushes that individual, him or her, to take action. That courage that you possess at a period of time, it pushes you to take action despite whatever and however you feel. It pushes you to take action. See, so when you're acting from a place of courage, you are saying that no matter how you feel, ladies and gentlemen, no matter how you feel about yourself or the opportunity or the outcome, you are going to take the risk. And you're going to take the step towards what you want. Talking about courage here. It's important. See, you're willing to allow yourself to be vulnerable in showing the art, whatever it is that you're trying to display. You're willing because you are being courageous. You're taking that action. And when you start taking that action, see, it's like starting a business. Think about it for a second, right? It's like starting a business that might succeed or fail. That's what happens when you start a business or a new venture, right? Right? Having the opinion on something, being in a relationship. You're not waiting for the confidence of this mysterious thing to happen. You take the courage, you step into this with the courage, and the more you put in being courageous, the confidence is developed. Are you guys with me? If you're with me, type with me. If you're with me, type with me. If you're with me, type with me. See, it's not that I think confidence is an attribute that should be discarded as a personal development goal. I don't think that at all about confidence, right? And like happiness. It is just it's a worthwhile pursuit to gain happiness, right? It's a worthwhile pursuit to gain the confidence. But becoming more confident, ladies and gentlemen, it's not a quick job. It's not a quick job. This is important for us to understand because we strive to get to this level in life to say that I want to be so confident. I want to go ahead and take charge of my life. I want to achieve this great goal. I want to climb over the mountaintop. But it is a process. It is a process. See? So sure, a person can fake being confident. Think about that. A person can fake being confident. Most of us, we've done it before, or we run into people that do this a lot. They can fake being confident or fake being happy, but only for a period of time. Only for a period of time. Over time, this does more damages when you're faking that than it goes to the good side of things because you're faking it. Pretending to be something that you're not is a destructive thing, an exhausting exercise. How many of you have gone through this before? If you've gone through, well, I was pretending and this is just exhausting, go ahead and put some 10s in the chat. Go ahead and put some 10s in the chat, wherever you guys are calling in from. If you've gone through this before where you yourself said, man, listen, I'm just gonna pretend. And you found out that, man, I was pretending and this pretending now led me here. And now I keep pretending and now this is just taking me to a place that I didn't want to be. And it's exhausting, ladies and gentlemen, tiring. But there's no good can really come from it because you're not working at what should be developed. You're working against it. So then it leads me to our next segment to say, how do I become more courageous? How do we become more courageous? How do we become more courageous? See, your ability to take action despite fear can improve with practice. Remember I said that earlier, I said the more you do it, the ability to take action despite fear can improve with practice. So why are we faking it? So now we're practicing in fear that can only lead us to the wrong side when we can practice being courageous, right? And in practicing being courageous, the more you do it, ladies and gentlemen, the better you become at it. The more you do it, the better you become at it. Have you ever been in a position where they may say, well, look, we need you to come and talk to the group, or we need you to show up and you're going to be the one up front that's going to present this opportunity at the job. Right now we have the CEO coming in, or we have the COO, and we kind of chose you because you're so outgoing. And you just freeze up. You just, wait a minute, hold on. I'm doing it with y'all. We comfortable over here. You telling me I got to do it in front of the COO? You telling me I got to do it in front of this group of people? I was okay in my little cubicle giving the information, right? But now you're telling them to stand in front of these individuals. And then when you do it, first you got that fear that came in. And now when you do it, you're like, oh, you're fumbling all over your words, but you got everything put together well. But now, because there's an audience, now because someone is watching that you know is watching, now you're fumbling all over. But understand this, when you practice and you continue to practice, you become better at what you're practicing. So people always say practice makes perfect. I say to people, perfect practice makes perfect. So we got to practice. So even though we were bad at this confident thing because the fear was hitting us, you were still courageous to step up. So we have to practice at it. Are you guys following? We have to practice at it. So let's look at this. Look at an exercise, right? And I was saying to you guys a while ago, giving you that example. There's something you can write down and say, I was afraid blank because blank, but I did it anyway because. That's something for the people who haven't spoke in front of a room, who haven't stepped up in that office position, who's been holding back, and they're like, okay, I don't know, how do I develop this confidence, right? I was afraid to blank line because blank line, but I did it anyway because blank line. And you can fill those things in. So what is an example I would give you? I was afraid to quit my job. and start a business because I'd never done it before, but I did it anyway because I put time and money and effort into getting myself into a position where I knew I could make something work. Does that make sense? See that? That is you already stepping into the role of being courageous. That is you stepping into that space of courage. And in that space, your confidence starts to build because you did it once and you might have been all over the place. But then you did it again and you might have been a little bit. Then you did it the third time. You did it the fourth time. You did it fifth time. See, repetition, ladies and gentlemen, is very important. Repetition is very important because the more you do it, the better you will become. The more you do it, the better you will become. Another example, I was afraid to take the job position that I was offered because what? I didn't feel like I had enough experience. But I did it anyway because I knew that I had a supportive team. You had a supportive team. I knew I had a supportive team around me and the ability to reach out to people who can help me to navigate and grow in the position. See, that is why when you go into a new job, a new journey, and they said, well, you have a probation period for a month or for 90 days or whatever it may be, right? Because one, they want to see how you perform. Two, they have to teach you their way and their culture of doing the job or that particular work. But then you also get to know you have a team or a support system around you to do what that organization expects you to do. Are you guys with me? If you're with me, type 10 in the chat. If you're with me, type 10 in the chat. That when you step into that new position, you're stepping in, right? Being courageous because you figure you were equipped for the job, but now at that particular position has things that they want done a certain way. So now your courage got you in there, but you will build confidence through repetition to get the job done. Ladies and gentlemen, that is very important. That is extremely important for us to understand as we step into this concept because so many of us have failed and we continue to fail within this space of courage and confidence. So many of us, we mix it up. So many of us, we start thinking, well, no, they're one and the same. But not understanding that one requires the action and the other is only developed or derived through the action. So you just don't, oh, I got confidence. That's not how it works. So we have to work at it and we have to know how. And a lot of the times we're not getting taught how. We're just told, go out and do this. Go out and do that. You should be this. You should be that. Why haven't you accomplished this? You don't have any confidence. So we get more badgering than the teaching that we should get. And then when we're told something, we need the examples behind it so that we will understand how to apply it. That's extremely important. It is extremely important, right? You have to get pushed, right? You have to get pushed. That courage, being courageous, it pushes you into action despite the fear. It allows you, ladies and gentlemen, to know that you have the support of the right people around you. It allows you to know that you have a team rallying to see you do well. And by you stepping up, being courageous, not only that it muster up and brings out confidence in you, but it brings out confidence in those that are listening, that are following, that are a part of the journey or the vision of that organization. This is why it's so important for people in the public sector to understand it and be very careful. Because once you step into a role of leadership, which we're all operating in, but now you're moving in the public sector, then you have a responsibility to understand what you are a part of, so that those that are watching and following are not led incorrectly. I'm hoping somebody is with me. I'm hoping somebody is with me. This is very important for us to hear, because a lot of times we like to say, well, no, I'm just going to live my life. I'm just going to live my life. This is I'm doing me. No, there's never doing you. There's always someone watching. There is always someone watching. And it's imperative for you to understand this, to understand how you should apply this into your life, ladies and gentlemen. Very important. Very important for you to apply this into your life. So let's look at this, right? What are 6 attributes of courage? Let's look at that. What are 6 attributes of courage? And I want to have you guys write that down. What are 6 attributes of courage? 6 attributes of courage, right? What are 6 attributes of courage? Now, there's a few that I have, but I just want to give you a couple, right? What are 6 attributes of courage? 1 is commitment. 1 is commitment. The first one is commitment. See, commitment, this is major, ladies and gentlemen. It's a major attribute of a courageous person. Commitment. It's a major attribute of a courageous person. See, commitment means to be dedicated and devoted to your duty. Dedicated, devoted to your duty. See, a man's courage is always committed to his work. You got to be dedicated. Commitment. The second one is endurance. Endurance. These are attributes of courage. Endurance. So we got to know, how do we build it? How do we develop it? Well, you got to be, commitment is key. Endurance. You have to have endurance. Courageous person exhibits strong will and power. A courageous person, they exhibit strong will and power. This is important. In order to succeed, they exhibit strong will and power. So you have to have endurance. This is important. Number 3, determination. Number 3, determination. Number 3 is determination. See, that determined person is always a helpful individual. Helpful, steadfast, and undaunted. Helpful, steadfast, and undaunted in pursuing goals and aspiration. That's that determination that you gotta have. You gotta be steadfast. You gotta be firm, undaunted, because you gotta push while pursuing those goals and aspiration that you have. So it's important that determination is a part of your journey, a part of your life when you're developing courage. This is very important. Number 4 is diligence. Number 4 is diligence. Number 4 is diligence. And to be diligent, ladies and gentlemen, that is the ability to preserve, listen, in order to accomplish a task, right? Persevere, sorry, I said preserve. The ability to persevere in order to accomplish a task. You got to be diligent. You have to be diligent. See, diligent people are not mediocre individuals. You have to be diligent. They're very effective in their profession of duty. You have to be diligent. You got to persevere. That is important to get you to where you need to be. So you must be diligent. Number 5, steadfastness. Steadfastness. Okay? Courageous people, courageous person is always firm. They're always consistent, unwavering, right? Unwavering in this discharging of their duties. They steadfast, they're grounded. So that courageous person, they're firm, they're consistent and unwavering. So steadfastness is important for you to have developing that courage, okay? Boldness, you gotta be bold. Write that down. Boldness is the next one. Boldness. Boldness, write it down. That's that courageous person. That's the ability to overcome fear or intimidation. You have to be bold. You have to be bold. You have to stand in it. You got to say, well, look, I know that I don't know what's on the opposite side. And I know that scares me. But what I do know is that I'm not going to stay on this side where I am. I know that when I get to that other side, there's only going to be greatness for what I'm carrying. So in despite of me not knowing, I feel that what I'm carrying and where I'm going is going to take me into something great. You got to be bold. You got to be bold. See, with that one, I'm going to give you guys another one. Because with bold, I'm going to just give you guys bravery. That's important to have. Right? You got to be bold. You got to be brave. Bravery. That's the seventh one. I'll just give you that bonus one. Bravery is so important. Bravery is so important. It's the willingness and the ability to exhibit boldness. That's what that bravery is. The willingness and the ability to exhibit boldness and fearlessness. Bravery. The ability to exhibit boldness and that willingness to exhibit boldness and fearlessness. Bravery. That's that bonus one I want to give you. That's in handling your task, handling anything that you desire to handle. This is why they always said, there's a saying that they said, fortune favors the brave. Fortune favors the brave. And you guys might have heard that before. If you haven't, then ladies and gentlemen, now you're hearing it now. That's why they always said fortune favors the brave, because it's the willingness and the ability to exhibit boldness and fearlessness. That is extremely important in those attributes to being a courageous person, to developing courage. That is extremely important. Now, let's move on. What is the key to courage? It seems as if we're moving in at a real good pace right now, and I love it, right? What is the key, right, to courage? What is the key to courage? This is very important. What is the key to courage? We talked about how we can develop this courage, right? So what is the key to courage? Now, don't spend your time tightening up your grasp on all your resolve, right? You know, get a grip on a compelling truth. Don't just tighten up on your resolve. Get a grip on a compelling truth. What do I mean when I said a compelling truth? Get a grip on something that is so powerful to you, something that is a burning desire inside of you, right? This is what we're talking about. What is the key to courage? Something that is a burning desire inside of you. So that's why I said get a grip on a compelling truth. It's important. See, courage is about action. Remember, courage is about action in the face of fear. It is about action in the face of fear. But fear is also based on what you believe. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. Come on now, if you're with me. See, courage is about action in the face of fear, but fear is based on what you believe is true. Instead of blindly pushing us into something that you think is right, what we need to do, we need a magnificent obsession that pulls us forward. Notice what I'm saying, a magnificent obsession that pulls us forward. Somebody should write that down and highlight it. A magnificent obsession that pulls us forward. What magnificent obsession do you have? See, this is key. So for most of you that's on this call right now, most of you on this leadership summit, if you haven't found a magnificent obsession, then I challenge you today to find a magnificent obsession that will pull you forward. See, because when you find a magnificent obsession, remember I said to you guys on one of the summit before, I was talking about desire, and I want to make sure you understand. People say, well, yeah, I don't have energy, I feel lazy, I'm so lethargic and beat up. That is because you don't have a desire that will allow the driving force in you. See, desire begots energy. See, you have to have a burning desire. When you have a burning desire, you develop the energy. Energy is running in, through, and around you. So when you don't have any desires, this is why when people say, oh, this person just sit on the couch all day and doing nothing with their life. Well, because there is no desire. There's nothing that's burning. There's no magnificent obsession. So you got to have a magnificent obsession that will muster up the courage that will then lead to action. And in the action, you become confident. Are you guys with me? Are you guys with me? Type 1 if you're with me. See, we want to be courageous. We want to be brave. We want to jump out there. We want to slay the dragons. We want to do all of these amazing things, right? We want to slay that dragon of fear, get it out of our life. We want to be valiant and jump up and down. But we got to understand that courage is about the action in the face of fear. This is very important to understand. Very important to understand. So what do we need to do? What do we need to do? We need to avoid things like discomfort. We got to put these things behind us. We got to avoid things like discomfort, right? We need to mitigate risk, not embrace it. We need to mitigate it. We don't need to embrace, we need to mitigate it. We need to keep pushing. We need to keep playing, right? We need to keep pushing. This is important because you want to be able to face it. But remember, it is what you believe it is when it comes to fear. So if you have that beautiful, that magnificent obsession, then there's nothing to worry about when it comes down to fear. Because that magnificent obsession is going to catapult that courage that you couldn't find, that you were not even thinking about any longer because you're so obsessed in this obsession, this magnificent obsession, that action will start. It's important. We want to be courageous, ladies and gentlemen. You want to jump out there, start the business, let's go. You don't care if somebody says no, because you know no just means not now. You're pushing. You don't want to hear it. You want to step into a job and you want to say, look, I demand equal pay. I want pay just like these individuals. I have the skill set. I have the accolades. I've done the work. I need equal pay, or I need to be paid better. See, it's a different thing. Because now you're stepping out there. You have this magnificent obsession and you're pushing, and nothing is going to hold you back. And when you move and you're pushing and you're in the middle of it, you start realizing, wait a minute, hold on. That wasn't, the old me would have not even moved. Where did I get this courage from? That is because you have that magnificent obsession. That's that desire. That's breathing that energy. See, it must be understood so we know how to apply it. That's extremely important. It's extremely important, ladies and gentlemen. You must understand what it is so that you can apply it in your everyday life, or so that you can take it, apply it, and teach it. This is important. See, a lot of the times we've been told so much and we're focusing on the wrong thing that we cannot get ahead because we're applying ourselves in the wrong area. we're applying ourselves in the wrong sector. We are following the road of the majority. We are following the road of the majority and not understanding that the road that's less traveled and those that take that road are the ones that get to where they need to go. So we can't muster up and pretend, because it becomes exhausting and tiring. That's why you hear people say, oh, I'm so done. Oh my gosh, I was in this meeting all day. I had to pretend like I really know how to do it. I had to pretend like I know what I'm doing, and it was so rough for me. And then you find that individual that a lot of us like to say, how much coffee did she have this morning? How much coffee did he have this morning? He's perky and fired up. No, that's a person that clearly have a magnificent obsession and came in courageous, full of confidence, because they know what they know and believe what they know, and they already know that fear get behind me because I came to take over. I came to crush it. I came to get to the side that I know I belong on, so I'm no longer listening to what was being said, how I need to pretend, how I need to be exhausting myself with negativity. I know how I should be courageous. I can only be courageous by the action that I need to take. And once I take this action, everything else will fall suit, because in my action, my confidence will develop, and my consistency of what this courageous step has done will allow me to be better on how I apply myself. I'm hoping somebody's following me. I'm hoping somebody's following me. I'm hoping you guys are taking or getting what I'm putting down. Because see, this is extremely important for us to understand. Now, ladies and gentlemen, maybe I'll be able to give you guys this last one. What are the 3 causes of courage? What are the 3 causes of courage? Maybe I'll be able to get this one in. What are the 3 causes of courage, right? See, courage, ladies and gentlemen, courage can further be categorized into 3 different forms, 3 different forms. So what are the 3 causes of courage? I want to really just hit on that real quick, right? And these different forms: physical, psychological, and moral, right? 3 forms of courage, right? What are these 3 causes? These 3 causes of courage: physical, psychological, and moral. See, physical courage includes a physical act. You told me you have to move, right? An action, a physical act, such as, let's say, rescuing someone, physical courage. Rescuing someone from fire, like a fireman rescuing someone from fire, or entering into a situation that you perceive that is dangerous. That's physical courage, right? This is important, because now you can understanding fear and courage, right? So that physical courage is you jumping into that. So you see, courage is less of an innate characteristic. So I want you to understand it. It's less of an innate character strength than it is a skill. I want to make sure that you guys are following me. It's important. See, an individual can intentionally develop courage. I want you to understand this. You can intentionally develop courage with the right skills. And when the right skills are in place, you can intentionally develop that courage that you need when the right skill is in place. This is very important. And they did a study at Cornell University. A keynote speaker talked about this layout of courage and how things work, and looking at those 3 things that I mentioned to you guys: physical, psychological, and moral, right? And one of the things about courage is defined they talked about 4 components of courage, right? In this particular study at Cornell. And a keynote speaker, Dr. Dawson, spoke on this. Now, the first thing we talked about is an action needs. It's an action that needs to happen to bring an uncertain outcome. That's that move towards getting it done, right? Developing and getting that courage. So if you know something is going to work out, then you don't need courage. If you already know, then there's no need for you to be courageous, because you already know, well, it's going to happen. So that's not courage being mustered up, right? It wouldn't require courage. That's one of the things that she talked about, right? And then the second thing she talked about was the person must be fearful, right? Which relates to the third component, right? The presence of a perceived or a real risk. So these are things that muster up courage. You got to be fearful, right? A perceived risk. This will muster up courage for you to step into that space. A perceived risk. You got to step into that space. And the fourth was the final component of this is that an individual perceiving the risk and feeling the fear where the outcome is uncertain, then take action. That's what they were talking about, right? These four components of these three things that I said to you all a while ago, where it's physical, psychological, and moral, right? Now, it's very important for you to understand that how all of this works, because when you start talking about three causes of courage, and you're talking about it being physical, you're talking about it being psychological, and you're talking about it being moral, a lot of the time when we look at it, we know that physical courage, we know how people operate, like I said, running into something to save someone and knowing that there's a risk and you don't know the outcome. So you're literally like, well, I got to run in here, muster up this courage. I got to save this individual. Firemen, they do this all the time. It takes a lot of courage, right? And there's a fear behind this, and they don't know if they're coming back out, but they're running in. But when you run in, you build that confidence to know that, look, I will go in here because I have the skill set. And that kicks in, gives you that confidence. That's me saying to you that you know you're going for that job. You know you're applying for that space. You know that you deserve equal pay or better because you have the accolades. So you get that courage from that action, and then you become more confident because you know that, look, I got the skills and I'm equipped. And you do it over and over again, right? As firemen, they do these practices over and over again so that something real happens. They must have the courage to run in there. Are you guys with me? If you're with me, type 7 in the chat. If you're with me, type 7 in the chat. See, physical courage, like I said, include a physical action, right? Such as rescuing someone. I mentioned that to you guys, right? Psychological courage is an act that includes psychological risk. Is an act that includes psychological risk, wherein one admits to a mistake or a risk that he made, right? So you're admitting to something as a psychological risk, something that made you uncomfortable. So that psychological risk, right? It includes that psychological process, okay? But a lot of the times, most of us, we operate through psychological and moral courage, right? So moral courage is the ability to do something or do the right thing and stand up for your personal values. That's moral courage. To do is the ability to stand up, okay, and do the right thing. That is for your personal values. That's moral courage. I want to make sure that you guys have it. The ability to do the right and stand up thing, right, for your personal values. That's moral courage. So you want to think to yourself, how many of you and how many of us have been operating in that space, utilizing that moral courage? Because a lot of the times that's what happens. A lot of times we, instead of us using the physical courage, right, we operate through the psychological and the moral. So this is why you find that when you say to someone, well, listen, the organization needs someone to step up. The organization needs someone that is going to be fired up to do X, Y, Z. You find that most people are becoming reclusive because they're operating in the psychological space. So now the fear is already beating them because they're already saying, ooh, I don't know if I can do that. But they'll stand on their moral ground, some of them, to say, I'm going to stand up for my value and what I believe in, right? But you don't have that physical push. And you need to have that physical push in order for confidence to be developed. Is somebody with me? Understanding these three things, these three causes, right, of courage, because you need to be able to have the courage that will build confidence. That's why we said confidence and courage, right? You need to have the courage that will build confidence. But if you're only operating in a psychological space, because the minute you hear it, we go right inside. That's what happened, because you receive the information and now you have to process the information. And now you got to say, ooh, they want me to go up there and speak in front of this room. Ooh, I don't know about that, right? Because now you're processing psychologically, because now you're like, oh, listen, I may screw up and now people's going to look at me like I really don't know what I'm doing. Or now I want to step into this role and I have all these people looking up at me, but I really don't understand. So you're doing all this processing. When if you simply operate at the physical action by jumping, then everything else is going to fall into place. But see, understanding the steps that we discussed today is very important. Understanding the steps is very important.
He's so good.
So I commend you all. I commend you all for jumping on.
All right, she was coming.
Guys, go ahead and mute out for me. Go ahead and mute out for me. Go ahead and mute out for me, guys. Someone is unmuted. Go ahead and mute out for me. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you, guys. And I wanna commend you guys for staying the journey and understanding what it takes to develop the confidence and the courage. Because once we apply this confidence and courage to our life, it will change all things. All things that we are looking for will be changed once we apply this confidence and courage to our life, ladies and gentlemen. It is very important for us to live this way, because once we can develop the confidence through the courage that we will muster up, taking that action, all things will get accomplished. You will no longer sit back and not understand how it should be done, because now you can apply these steps to your life. And once you apply these steps, step by step, you can track the outcome. So this is why I say to people, apply the steps, the information that you get on the Leadership Summit, apply these things to your life. Apply how is courage and confidence related. Apply it. Apply the power of courage and overconfidence. Apply it. Apply how to become more courageous. When you apply these things, track them step by step. So if you're tracking and you're saying, wow, I'm 2 months in, I'm 3 months in on this journey of my new business, and I've been applying these steps, or at this new job, I'm here now going on the 90-day period of the probation, and wow, this has been effective for me, because now I've become a better listener. I've become a better planner. I've literally been strategic in areas that I thought I would be weak. I have overcome so much because I stepped in to a position not worrying that I will fail, because failure is not an option. I've already arrived. So if you start applying these things to your life, the outcome can only bring greatness for all that you seek. So I challenge you guys, and I ask that as you guys apply these things into your life, please, when you rejoin the summits later on, please, ladies and gentlemen, type it in the chat. Let's have an open forum and discuss what has been happening in your life, how it has helped your life, how it has changed your life, how it has done wonders for you and those that you might be leading in an organization. Because this is very important, how it has done, the effects that it has taken in your household. It's extremely important. So I want to have an open forum as you guys apply these things. And I thank you guys for jumping on today. I thank you guys for joining today's Leadership Summit. I thank my team for being so amazing, for always making sure that we come through. You all are the ones who normally sometimes write in or send information in as to what topic you want us to speak on. And confidence and courage was one of them. And I wanted to make sure that I get information, I studied information that would make sense for where we need to go, along with my consistency of constantly learning. And there's so much more on this that I would like for us to talk on. We have so many chapters that we can actually go through when we start talking about confidence and courage. This is extremely important, ladies and gentlemen. So I want to have you guys go out into this week being courageous. Go out into this week with confidence. Go out into this week knowing that your action will develop the confidence, but your desire will birth the energy that is required. So it's important for you all to develop that obsession. Develop that obsession that is so needed, that obsession that is burning, that will allow you to push forward and accomplish all that you seek. I challenge you all, let it be a magnificent obsession. Write it down, put it on your wall. Said, I need to develop that magnificent obsession that allows me to burn with energy to accomplish the thing that I set out to accomplish. I thank you guys. I appreciate you all. A lot of love and respect to all of you that continue to join and support this Leadership Summit. It's very strategic that we have these dialogue, and I'm thankful that you guys are staying the journey as I continue to serve and stay the journey as well. I want you guys to go out there and win. I want you guys to explode in greatness. I want you guys to get abundance of blessing through everything that you do. And I will see you guys next Monday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Leadership Summit. So I love you guys. Go ahead and enjoy the rest of your week and continue to write in, continue to email, continue to text, whatever it is, whatever topic you guys would like us to discuss, so we can research and we can have these dialogue with you all. Thank you so much. Love you all. Again, you guys be blessed.